Hello, everyone. I'm Dean Barton, the CAMA Saskatchewan Chapter President. I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar today, and thank you for coming. We have another great turnout, despite a little bit of confusion with the time, and we apologize if that caused any confusion for you. And thank you for your support. We have a few non-CAMA members with us today, so we encourage you to check out our website at cama.org for more information, and we would appreciate your consideration to join a CAMA chapter. CAMA operates as a nonprofit organization, and we rely on CAMA memberships to support us during the year. Each of the provincial chapters work hard to provide the opportunity for members to connect with other agro-marketers to grow their skills and their passion for agro-marketing. By becoming a CAMA member, you can also reap those benefits. We'd like to thank Western Producer for sponsoring the webinar today. Their financial support helps us to maintain the CAMA Saskatchewan chapter. We'd also like to acknowledge and recognize industry partners who have joined the CAMA Sustaining Partner Program. This program was launched by CAMA National to help fund several initiatives, such as our new CAMA brand development and website revamp. Our 5 committed partners are Bayer, Glacier Farm Media, Real Agriculture, Ad Farm, and AGI. Thank you to those companies for their ongoing support of CAMA. Before I turn it over to our speaker, a few housekeeping items to review. Please keep your camera off and muted during the presentation. If there are questions, please type them in the chat box in the control panel, and we'll answer the questions at the end of the presentation. The webinar will be recorded, and the link will be emailed to participants within 24 hours of the webinar. We will also be sending all participants a follow-up survey, as well as gather your input on the webinar today and to obtain feedback and suggestions for future CAMA events. Back to the webinar. I'd now like to introduce our speaker today, Josh Stewart-Van Dusen. He's the Director of Business Development at Tandem X Visuals, a social media production agency based in Regina, Saskatchewan, that works with clients to craft compelling visual stories for their audience. Josh will walk through the shareable content framework that Tandem X Visuals has used to develop videos that have reached over 14 million views organically. It will be a very entertaining presentation, so please welcome Josh.
Classic. I was on mute. Thanks, Dean. I appreciate it. Good starts. Everyone, I'm really excited to kind of be taking this presentation and kind of walking you guys through using video to sell your brand and sell for your brands. A little bit of background on me super quickly. My name is Josh Stewart-Van Dusen, born, not necessarily raised in Regina, but born in Regina, moved around a ton, but eventually made my way back home. Regina is a city that you can never escape and never get away from. I'm a partner at Tandem X Visuals. So like Dean gave us a fantastic kind of intro of our company. We work with companies to kind of create compelling stories and visual assets. And, you know, I like to tell people I'm living like my dream job because I literally watch cat videos and hashtag for a living. There's not many people that get paid to do that. So yeah, it's a fun job. What I want to kind of do is intro a bit of the presentation. And this is my promise to you. My promise to you is that you're going to leave this webinar with a really good understanding of video. I really want you guys to take this back, and I take things very theoretical, kind of like level, like higher up. I'm not like, there's no really tactical, do this to get good video content, but I really teach you the fundamentals of what makes good video and how to use that for your brand, for your business. I really want you guys to laugh. That's my goal. It's my hope is that we're going to find a way to kind of get you guys chuckling. And I really want this to be one of the most interactive webinars you've been on. We can all compare and contrast the last 18 months, the last pandemic, about how many webinars we've been in, how many times we've fallen asleep. And my goal is to make sure that you don't fall asleep during this one, even though it's during lunch hour, normally during people's work from home lunch breaks. So my ask from you, I want you guys to be actively listening. You know, I've prepped this presentation to be compelling, to be super awesome, but you guys need to be listening because I have a couple questions. I have some, you know, Q&As. I've got some stuff that really keeps you guys interested and really invigorated to keep the conversation flowing. My jokes are bad. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. I want you to laugh at least once and ask questions. If in the chat, I have the chat kind of situated nicely here. So if you guys have questions and I can kind of sneak it into the topic of the slide I'm on, I will definitely do that. One thing I always prefer in these, because normally I like to present and like I can see people, but right now I'm staring at a brick wall and my monitors. So if you guys want to turn your screens on to laugh and chuckle and ha ha ha, I have it on gallery view so I can see your bright faces, I can see your smiles, I can kind of interact and have a little bit more chemistry as opposed to Josh screaming at his laptop. So I invite you guys to turn on your camera, smile, and then if you don't laugh throughout, just at the end, just laugh a little bit, and that's all we'll do. So, Tandem X Visuals. We work in tandem with our clients and community to inspire moments of emotion and action through high quality content production. It's a very long descriptor of our company, but I want you guys to get a really good understanding is that we specialize and obsess when it comes to video. That's where a lot of our specialties come from, is we just hyper obsess about producing video and producing content that's specific to social media platforms. And that's really what makes video effective on social. The team behind us and behind me that crafts all this content is right here. We left one guy out, not on purpose. We didn't leave one guy out on purpose. We just didn't get a photo of him in this exact staff photo. We're missing Joel, our incredible producer. But this is the roster of incredible creatives that we have on our team at Tandem. So let's kick things off. Why are we all here today? I'm assuming people have some ideas. We're going to talk about video. It's a webinar. It's a presentation. Well, I don't think so. I have a limited time, never been better, amazing limited time, super awesome, available offer ready for you right now. And it's not videos. It is, guesses, timeshares. I want to sell you guys some timeshares right now. And this is probably not the presentation you thought you're getting yourself into, but timeshares are an incredible opportunity to sit on a beach and sit back, relax. Could you imagine having an offer as limited as this? It will never get better. Think of it. That's you in the beach, chilling, hanging out in your pool. It's a timeshare. All I'm asking you for is like a little bit of money once a year. It's going to be great. Did I mention we have beaches in the timeshare? You can walk on the beach, have your great time. Life's going to be great. Anyone? No? Well, we have tequila. So if that doesn't get you buying timeshares, I don't know what is going to get you buying timeshares. So I really want to know who's ready to buy a timeshare right now. But I'm already hitting you with some interactive stuff. I want you guys in the chat in Zoom to put an exclamation mark if right at this exact moment you're buying a timeshare. You'll buy it right now from me. Put a question mark if you have literally no clue what's going on. I'll give you guys a second. Anna, I appreciate it. Thank you. Question marks. I love it. Well, I really like driving this point home. Had me at tequila. Perfect. Tequila usually makes you make bad decisions, but Carly's ready to make a bad decision before a bad decision. So that's a little feisty. Well, this really drives home a point I love to prove in video. Video is 4 times more effective than written print marketing. You know, we've all read documents, we've all read things, but I'm here right now. I'm in video. I'm pretty convincing. But you know, the traditional video that we're talking about is on social, on some sort of platform where you consume. And it is 4 times more likely to convince or persuade or drive action than written print. Written print, old school. Video, new school. But what we're forgetting here is context is key. I just tried to sell you a timeshare. You had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. You, like most of you, didn't want to buy, besides some of us that like tequila a little too much. But that's the same thing when it comes to video. If you go in and you're asking your customers, do you want to jump into this right now? Are you buying? Are you buying? Are you buying? People go, what am I doing? I don't get it. What do you want from me right now? I'm not buying your timeshare, even though I might have been in the market for a nice vacation. So context is key when it comes to video. And that's our first kind of major point that I like to drive home. Video is very intentional. And if you treat it with intention, you're going to get a lot in return. So the agenda. Today, we're going to be talking about 2 topics: selling your brand and selling for your brand. I like to kind of distinctly make sure these are different because I think you have to understand how to sell your brand before you can actually get out and start like knocking on doors and sharing the videos with the world. So we're going to be talking about understanding video and the shareability framework that we use at Tandem to really create compelling videos. And then after that, we're going to kind of dive into how are you guys going to make money from that. So understanding video. What makes video an incredible marketing medium? I personally think that because video is able to convey and convince and you can invoke emotion, it's very centered around the audience and you can really communicate anything. I think it's one of the best marketing mediums. I'm a little biased, I will admit. I own a production company that specializes in video production, but the fundamentals of video, I go home and I watch video. I go home and I consume Netflix until it asks me if I'm still watching. I understand how powerful video is. 92% of the internet's bandwidth is actual video consumption. 92% of the internet is video. That's a crazy fact. So I think it's an incredible marketing medium. But the really big point here is it's audience centered. It invokes emotion. You can communicate almost anything, but it's about your audience. It's not about you. It's not about your company. It's not about your brand. It's not about anything. It's about your audience. How do we make them the center of this video? How do we invoke their emotion? And how do we communicate the most clear way to them as possible? Videos should never, ever, ever be about your brands. And this is a weird thing. People go, well, why? That's strange. It needs to be about my brand. I need to talk about it. But Nike never says that they're Nike. They say just do it. They say go out, be the best you can be. And when you need help, you have our products. It's not about their brand. It's about their audience and what they're able to do, the message that they're taking forward and leading with. So Nike does videos pretty well, but I really want to drive this home. My second kind of major point, context is key. But when it comes to actually communicating, people are selfish, and we're going to really dive into that. So where and how can video be used in your business, in your brand? Social media is a great place. Social media is where you can put out videos about your employees, about the different things they're doing, day-to-day updates, how-to videos. You can put anything on social media. Another place where you can leverage video in a very efficient fashion, email marketing. Set up a weekly newsletter, something that has the same video that gets sent to every single person that opts into that newsletter. The trading courses, answering complex questions in emails to maybe sales leads that have sent information into your business that you can answer automatically with a video that explains that really complex topic. Or website, explain your services, about us, everything else in between. I think video is a great way because you're able to connect with two different learning styles, the auditory and visual people. And when you think about it, you're hitting a very large portion about the people and how they actually understand and they comprehend. And I just love video. So second interactive piece, I'm probably keeping you guys on your toes. You're getting grilled. This is the worst webinar you've been on because you actually have to do things. I'm sorry. So I really want to know how many of you guys have leveraged this in your brand, in your business. We're a bunch of marketers here, so I really like that we can talk actual tactical, have you done this type of stuff. So what I want you guys to do is if you put videos on social media, put a 1. If you've leveraged videos in your email marketing, press 2, and 3, press 3. You can go 1 through 2, 3 if you're doing them all. But yeah, you guys get the gist. I'll give you a quick second. You guys are active. Oh, this is cool. The last one, I had a couple responses. Whew. Cool. So people are using it. People have a good understanding of how to leverage it. Most people are opting for like social media and website. A couple people are using their email. I think email is a great place to leverage it because it's kind of like set once and forget it. To give you guys perspective, like at Tandem, we have a 7-week kind of intro to video opt-in on our website. So if you opt in, put in your email, every week we're going to send you another video. For 7 weeks, we're able to keep that customer like completely compelled about consuming our content. And I know when I call them after the 7th week, they get it, they understand, and they're ready to buy. So I want to ask a very interesting question. When you've leveraged that in your social media, when you leverage that in your marketing channels, did you develop these videos for you, or did you develop these videos for you or for your audience and the message you're trying to communicate? Now, I don't expect anyone to go and completely confess like, oh, I'm guilty, I'm selfish, these videos were for me, they weren't for my audience at all. That's not the point here. But it's just a thought exercise for you guys to think about when you're actually producing videos. There's a stop point where you can think, am I telling people what I want them to know? Or am I telling people what they need to know and how they best can consume it? Because when you're leveraging video, you have multiple channels, you have multiple different ways you can communicate that. And if you're actually just putting out a video about Josh's best suggestions on social media, no one's going to like that. But let me tell you why. Let's get to the selfish part. Who remembers the 90s? Like, give me a yes or give me a no if you're like me and you were in diapers in the 90s. Because I'm sure that this photo probably brings the best decade ever. It probably brings back some memories. We can remember the 90s and understand that bedrooms looked like this, the 80s, like this was the way people showcase themselves to the world. This was not an uncommon thing to walk into someone's bedroom and have this everywhere. Now, I don't think that this has changed at all. I think where it's happening is just in a completely different place. And sharing is selfish. When you're thinking about social media, when you're thinking about how people understand and comprehend video, they're selfish. They do not want the posters that are not on their wall. They want to have the posters that are on their wall. You know, for me, guilty, loved Toy Story in the 90s because I was a baby. And I loved it. It was on my wall. I still remember having the poster there. But did I have a Barbie poster right next to it? No, I didn't. And that was a choice that I made because this is a way that I showcase the world. This is Josh. And I think that's very similar to how we post on social media. People don't post because Aunt Susan wanted to see you update a photo of you in a garden. You posted a photo in your garden with a bunch of hashtags, hashtag beautiful flowers, whatever that might look like. But you do it because you want to. So when you're creating video content for your audience and you're trying to kind of answer that question, are you doing it for you or you're trying to communicate the message to your audience? Remember that people are selfish. And when they're going to share your content or consume your content, ask yourself, are they going to put it up on their wall? Because if it's a no, that video is going to fall flat so quick because no one wants it. You're just giving it to them. If I hung up someone walked into my bedroom and put a Barbie poster, ripped it down so fast, it'd be gone quicker than quick because it's not me. So remember, videos should never be about your brand. It should be about your audience and the message that you're trying to communicate from your brand. Think Nike, they don't say their name. They just say, just do it. They just say, get out there. They just say, be the best you. And when you can have that, your brand is speaking, but you don't have to tell people that it's your brand speaking. They already know. So how do you develop messaging that's specific to your audience? This is a wild card slide I put in here. I'm going to challenge myself, but we're going to dive through how you really develop a good understanding of how do you find ideas for social media. We, in the last year, have produced over 550 videos within Tandem X Visuals, which that's a lot. I'm not even going to downplay that. That's a lot of videos. All of them usually have independent ideas and independent audiences and messages and key messages, and there's a lot to do. So people think we're creative geniuses, but we just leverage data. Where can we get the data? Google, YouTube, Answer the Public, Google Trends, social media analytics, industry headlines. We just scour. Clients come to us and say, I want to produce a video that has this objective. And we go, okay, sounds good. Be right back. We're going to go dive into data to get a good understanding as to what your audience wants to hear and where they are. If you don't nail those two, you'll never, ever communicate to them. But how do you come up with these ideas? A lot of people have come to us and they said, I don't have any ideas. You tell me. Idea generation is the funnest. It's where you can be creative and you can get crazy. And I really want to challenge myself. And this is the wild card slide. So don't believe me? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to take some random industry that someone's going to throw at right now. And we're going to take a kind of 2 minutes to find a couple different ideas for videos that we can create that directly communicate to the audience with the messaging that we really want. So in the chat, I want you guys to name a specific industry, and we're going to brainstorm some ideas to sell your brand. Diapers. Ooh, I feel like that's a loaded one, Anna. I was nervous that people were going to hit me with a bunch of ag industry things, and I was going to get completely thrown away. Plumbing supplies. People are on the, that was for the 90s. I see. Feed, ag equipment. Perfect. Daniel, I'm going to take yours. I'm going to take ag equipment. I'm going to slide over here, and I'm assuming you all can still see this Answer the Public. Can I get a thumbs up from you guys that I can see your, yeah, thumbs up. Perfect. Answer the Public. What Answer the Public is, it is a data aggregation platform that takes a bunch of data from Google, and it will basically curate it into digestible things for marketers to use. So we want to talk about ag equipment. I will type in ag equipment, nothing fancy here. We don't want to be searching what's being searched in the UK, but we do want to find ourselves in Canada, and let's search. So what this platform does is it pulls a bunch of information together from Google, and eventually it will give us a very fun, loading, classic example that doesn't work out. Here it is. So people are wondering, ag equipment for sale. People are wondering how they can find ag equipment. Okay, that might be a video idea. Next, ag equipment in Roosevelt. Oh, that's weird. That's giving us Texas and a bunch of other stuff. Ag equipment for sale near me, ag dealers. So let's just give an example. You're an ag dealer and you want to communicate a great message about your business. You deal with a ton of different things, all the way from riding lawnmowers all the way up to seeders and tractors and combines and everything else in between. But people want to know the ag dealers near them. Why don't you create that video? Hey, are you looking for an ag dealer near you? Because we're the best and we're the ones you want to find. And you're probably looking for tractors or anything else in between. So come find us because you're looking for us. There's a way that you can take a lot of these ideas and flip it completely into ideas that you can use in the way you market. But let's go to one more step, google.ca. Let's go to our good old ag equipment. So people are looking for ag dealers. They're looking for ag technicians. They're looking for ag equipment rentals. They're looking for specialties. Now, is that maybe something that this fake, artificial ag equipment dealer does? Maybe they are a specialized dealer and they can start talking about that. Okay, so we have ag specialties. What further? Ag specialties, we can kind of scroll down and go, oh, there are specific niches that we can drive into and start finding ideas about, these guys are another competitor. Okay, what are they posting? What are they communicating? And how do I make a video that is better than what they're communicating to their audience? And we're going to get to the how to sell your business in a few minutes. But it's pretty cool to search this ag specialties. And then I'm able to place an ad right up top here with my video that communicates what my direct competitor maybe can't do, or maybe what makes me great or better than them. So I love leveraging data because everything's out there. I can start searching. You can see other related search. Tractor supply. Tractor supply this year is down, but we'll talk about why. People are going to click on that video so fast because they're interested and it's specific to what they're talking about. Okay. Whew. Last time I did this, it was plumbing, like someone suggested, and it was really difficult. I'm glad you guys took a bit of ag twist to it. So I'm going to jump back into the presentation here. And we're going to dive into our shareability framework. So we've got a good idea of where we can leverage and find data online to start getting ideas flowing, answer the public, great place for kind of getting what people are already posting on Google and all these other search platforms. It allows us to get a good understanding about what people are looking for, the hows, the whys, the whos, and everything else in between. But you've got an idea. You want to know, how do I make this shareable? Well, shareable content is completely different than viral content. We've produced a couple of viral videos in our day, but we actually never meant for them to be viral. Like, we didn't wake up one day and go, I want to produce a viral video today. That doesn't happen. People don't do that. You can't actually make viral videos. Like, it's factually impossible, but you can make them shareable. And a side effect of your video being shareable is that it goes viral, because you're playing with something that's not humanistic. You're playing with an algorithm. You're trying to get Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these different platforms. You're getting them to try to push out your content as much as possible to as many organic people as you can. And they only do that when they're actually selling ads. It blew my mind when I started to realize this. If you go to Facebook, if you go to any social media platform, every third post is an ad. I challenge you to go and actually watch for it now. Every third post is an ad. So the more that people consume of your content, the longer they watch those videos, the more ads eventually Facebook will be able to show them. That's how things go viral. It's because people are consuming more of the content. They're watching that video for the full length. They're actually consuming the content. That's what makes it go viral. But there are elements to it that actually make it shareable. So while they're watching it, they're getting evoked with emotion. They're inspired. They want to keep watching more. You gave up the goats, which we're going to get to right away. Eventually, what you're able to do is take that humanistic side of people consuming content in a selfish way and get it to a shareable point so that the algorithms will start sharing it organically to as large of an audience as possible. And creating shareable content is the easiest way for you to sell your brands. It's easy, it's organic, you don't have to do anything. If you're being intentional in creating shareable content, you know that you're creating content that actually goes up on the wall of your audience, and that is the biggest win you possibly could get. From Saskatchewan here, we're a very referral-based market. Very few people will just buy because they decided one day to buy. If I tell my grandmother to go buy an iPhone, she's damn right buying an iPhone. She's not going to risk it on an Android because Josh told her to get that. And I think that that's how, really good videos operate on social. When you share it, your friend group gets to see that. And they're the most likely people to be referred because they usually share common knowledge and interests with you. So there's 5 attributes of shareable content. The first one, I think we need to give a little bit of an explanation behind, give up the goat. The last time I did this, it wasn't for an agriculture group. So give up the goat, it's funny. And it's actually a term in the industry and marketing. It's like, you put the best for first. And really what this shows is, we've all watched Facebook videos where you're watching it and the first 3 to 5 seconds is like the most action packed, like there's no, whoa, and then stops and it's the intro now. But you're caught, you're hooked. You want to watch more. And usually videos that actually give up the goat perform way better because you actually have triggered someone at the highest point of their dopamine release. We're getting to psychology now. The highest point of their dopamine release, you triggered it, and now they actually are wanting that more. They would need to figure it out. How did I get that? It's a very humanistic side to explore and discover what you don't know. So when you give a little sneak peek at the beginning of the video about what the best part of the video is, people aren't just going to scroll away. They're extremely interested. Second point of being shareable is invoking emotion. So there's a lot of emotions you can invoke in video. You can be happy, empathy, awe, curiosity, surprise, depressed, upset, mad. Like, you can trigger absolutely any emotion in video. But I think that these are the key ones that actually make it shareable. Curiosity. I love how it's made, how to make gummy bears and Coke bottles and brake pads. And I love it. I'm very curious. Surprise. There's a ton of different things that we can watch online that invoke emotion and we don't even realize what it's doing to us. We're just experiencing, and that's great. That's human. But we're marketers. We're trying to find ways to trick that consumer into buying, or finding them deeper down in the sales funnel, or getting them into a position where you're ready to hand them over to the sales team. And emotion is the best way to do that. Humans are creatures, not machines. They need emotion to be driven forward. Another key element to making something shareable is flipping the script. Now, I'm sure we'll get to an example that I have of how we made a shareable piece of content with flipping the script, but do it differently. Don't do the exact same thing that everyone else is doing. And my next point, I'll kind of allude to doing what's popular, but follow trends, but flip it. Make it funny, make it quirky, make it weird. And that's what makes it really, really consumable and shareable, because you're doing something different, but people also understand what you're trying to accomplish. It sparks the curiosity and surprise. It's something people won't expect. We're going to get to the office versioned wedding video that we created, and I'll show you what it means to kind of what people don't expect from a traditional wedding video. The fourth one, ride the wave. Make content about what's popular, like I just talked about. You should jump on a wave, jump on a trend. People are already aware of it. They are understanding it. TikTok is a huge platform for this because there's an actual wave and people jump on the trend and then it dies out. But if you catch on, you can actually go the distance. It's shareable, it's consumable. Ride the wave, but don't forget to flip the script and know your platforms. I alluded to earlier about the ads and the way the algorithms work, and you need to trick them into being shared to more people. And each platform is actually built to a very specific humanistic way that humans communicate. Twitter, short form. It's super, super, super text-based and short. Instagram's about videos and photos and visual assets. Facebook's about sharing. So when you think of each platform and you're creating video for it, think of how it shares natively on that specific platform, because that will dramatically change the ability for you to create a successful video or a viral video, if we're going to start calling success viral. I want to allude to some examples, because when we talk about emotions, we talk about shareable, and people go I don't get it usually, because it's hard to say, remember that one time when that video that you watched for 4 hours on Facebook and you just got lost in the scroll. Our brains just release that information. But to give you an example, a couple came to us and they gave us a very weird request. They said, make our wedding video so different that it's not a wedding video anymore. We went, okay, sounds good. We got it. So everyone, I'm here seeing The Office. Look at Michael Scott, the whole crew, love The Office. Well, let me show you what 112,000 people organically watched and loved. The Office. Cool. Did you guys all hear that? Like thumbs up, you heard that? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, non-traditional. We flipped the script. We took a wedding, and those are real people. None of this is staged. That's an actual wedding. And we made the video to flip the script, to spark curiosity, to give surprises, to awe the audience. And we posted on Facebook and woke up 2 days later with 112,000 views that we didn't pay for. We just created a piece of content that followed our shareable content framework. And it left people with a feeling of emotion that they wanted to share. And, looking through the comments, it was hilarious because I feel bad for all of the husbands, the grooms, the significant others that are looking at their wedding videos going, we're going to do what? Oh, we're Jim Halpert and Pam now. Okay, cool. No, that's fine. I didn't want a traditional video anyways. But so I think this is a great example. But we're in an ag community. We're talking ag. We're marketing ag. So I had to dig up a video that was one of our most viral videos. I'm not sure if you've seen this. We produced it a couple of years ago in 2018, but it's Rural Uber. This is when Uber was a hot topic in Regina. So we're riding the wave. We really wanted to flip the script and we wanted to invoke emotion. It was a couple key elements that we kind of had leading into producing this video. And it had a lot bigger of a response than we could ever imagine. So 11.6 million views is what I put it in the presentation when we had it. It's well over 13 million views now. It reached a lot of people, over 267,000 comments, I think. I digress on the stats. I'm just going to play it, and I'm sure you guys will love it.
Yo, when's that Uber getting here?
Gotta be here any minute now.
What are we driving in?
It's kind of tough to say, actually.
A Massey Ferguson?
Who?
Justin and Greg.
Hey, Murray, thanks for coming.
Hey, great to have you. Jump into the bucket seats and don't forget to buckle up.
Perfect, let's go.
What?
Ah! 29 seconds. 29 seconds is all it took to reach over 13 million people, trigger emotions, get them to develop a deeper relationship with Justin and Greg, who we shot this with. This video was and this is where you can't produce a viral video. We followed a shareable framework. We tried to make this shareable. And there's a couple elements in there, the nostalgia, riding in a bucket seat. There's elements in there that we knew would start triggering these emotions in people. We didn't know to what extent this would go to. Honestly, I wish to say like Saskatchewan saw this video, but Texas loved this video. They went wild over it. So, it's all about understanding the audience. And we were just trying to communicate to a fun ag audience and that rural community. We took this idea of Uber and flipped the script that Uber could be rural, and we triggered emotions. And eventually we developed this video that we loved and we posted, and other people loved it too. So I wanted to give you guys a couple examples. So I'm not just like, hey, do all this and your video is going to go viral. Because we've also produced 550 other videos this year. And, I would say 10 of them have gone to some extent localized viral. It's very hard to do, but when you can do it, it starts making a lot more sense and things start making, it starts getting a little bit easier. But we're getting to the point of the presentation where I need my ego fed for a little bit, just for a little second, just to keep me going. So who's learned something new? Hopefully you guys have learned something new. So hit me up in the chat if you learned something new, but most importantly, let me know if you're having fun. That's the goal of this. It's a lunch hour presentation. So we don't want you guys like, oh, that was the worst lunch webinar ever. I want you guys like, we need more lunches with Josh. And I really hope the comments are, oh, thank you. Okay, yes, from at least one person. That's awesome. Cool. Well, we're not going to have fun any longer because we're going to talk about some nitty gritty sales funnel, marketing jargon, more technical stuff. So I'm glad you've had fun. Take your fun hat off. We're getting into marketer mode. We're using a video sales funnel to sell your brands. We understand video now. We understand that it's selfish. We understand that people need to be triggered with emotion. And there's a shareable framework to kind of invoke some of those triggers that make people share it or consume it or want to watch more. But we're here to get a good understanding about how we can make money. Everything in life is about money. So what's a sales funnel? We're all marketers. I don't want to kind of bore you guys with this 101 of what is a sales funnel, but I love to look at it in a very sequential path. Marketing is like dating. You can't ask someone to marry you on the first date. That's a fact. And if they say yes, run, because that's a bad situation all wrapped up. So there's awareness, first dates, there's interest, there's third dates, there's decisions, there's trips to somewhere remote, and eventually you're going to ask to marry, but don't ask to marry on the first date. And this is where really people get it all wrong. People use sales funnels like this. You want to buy? Hey, I've got a huge sale. Hey, we're clearing things out now. You want to buy? Hey, have you heard we've had a sale? Hey, there's a promotion. Hey, there's a sale. Hey, 25% off. And last but not least, tequila. Anyone? Huh? Jump in for some tequila. Maybe that will make you buy on the first date. No, well, maybe tequila will. But the point I'm making is you cannot go for the sale right away. The best example is it's like dating. We all get it. That's the best example I can give. So who's used social media ads before? And did you have any success? I want you guys to put a Y in the chat if you guys have leveraged social media advertisements and it's worked for you. Put an N if you kind of like tried it, didn't know what happened. You kind of were like, was it effective? Did it even work? Do I even know what's going on? Couple Ys, okay, cool. Yes and a no, yes, cool. People get it, cool. We're on the right track then. For the few people that, yeah, good point. Like it's hard to measure success, and that's where Facebook Pixel comes in. But the last iOS update, and we won't get into it, but like tracking is getting a lot harder on advertisement, and it's hard to know that the customer's actually converted. It's a difficult one to gauge unless you just like customers walk in going buy. So let's talk about using a video sales funnel to sell for your brand. The platforms that I like love. There's a ton of other advertisement platforms. These are the mainstream ones: Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Google. I left Twitter out there. I think Twitter is something in the ag industry that works really, really well. Video is tricky on Twitter because it's a very text-based platform. So it's a little different. So I don't have a ton of experience marketing in Twitter, so I left it out. Super sorry about that. But why I love it the most is all these platforms on the left allow for you to do one very, very, very awesome thing. You can start segmenting out your audience. So I know that people that are aware of my videos, and I only want to target the people that watch these videos. I want to target them if they've watched more than 50% of this video. They're a little bit aware of this content. They're aware of me as a brand and as a business. So I want to only retarget the people that have watched 50% or more. It's possible on all these platforms, except for Google AdWords, but actually on YouTube, it's possible. So it's possible on all those platforms. So you can slowly start moving people down. Well, the next stage, I want to know from the interest stage down to the decision stage, I only want the people that have watched 75% or more of that video to move down to that different stage. Well, they're moving on down. And that goes down all the way to the bottom. But decision and action get really tricky because I want to know that you're ready to get married. We're not like third dating it anymore. Like I want to know that I'm getting ready to commit to some sort of long-term thing here, because that means money, either a good way or a bad way. When you get people down to the bottom of your sales funnel, that's where they're most likely to take that action and buy. So let's dissect each of them. The awareness stage. The video content that I truly believe works the best is explaining videos. You just need to get out there and tell everyone everything. Just word vomit, but keep it short and concise. Showcase your brand, showcase your products and services, why your audience literally needs you. It's not a want. This is not like, hey, come by sometime. It's like, you need us. We're aware of that. Because when you make that assertive thing in a video and you say like, hey, my audience, the people that like our product the most are people, looking to the ag dealer. They're farmers. They are farmers and they're farmers. We're ag dealers. That's who they are. You're able to communicate that with them directly. And these videos, like I said, should be short, super concise, because what we're looking is to capture people that have watched more than 50%. So 30 seconds, if you have 15 seconds of watch time, let's start retargeting those customers. They're very much so aware. So we're jumping to the interest stage. We're driving through, we're getting more people, they're moving down the funnel, which is really good because eventually when they reach the bottom, cash money. But here is a very, very hard stage to market in. It's very easy to get a click. It's very easy to get someone's interest and awareness, but it's hard to keep them hooked. So this interest stage is where you've got to really drive value in what your customers perceive when you're putting out video. Now, this could be ways that you could showcase your solution. So actually do a product demo video of one of the tractors that you're trying to sell through this ag dealership. You can showcase the different features, the in-cab features, the stuff that, the bells and the whistles. And the best thing to do is get a customer to be there with you. This customer uses it in this way. He loves it. So you should get it too. And this is our ag specialist. It really creates that cohesive connection. So when people are just on the edge, on the fence, am I aware? Am I interested? I don't know yet. You're able to actually create a lot of value when they're in that specific stage. Going down, showcase videos. This is really where the decisions are getting made. This is where people are actually getting to the point where they're like, can I see this long-term, or am I just out of here? Very similar to dating. Am I in this forever, or am I just feeling this out still? This is where you're going to lose a lot of people, because they're just going to go, no, I realize this wasn't for me. And these videos should be showcasing what you're trying to feature to them and show them and sell to them. It shouldn't be something that you're just kind of like high level everything again. This should be more intentional. You should be, focusing on the key benefits of this farmer getting this one specific tractor that has this one specific in-cab feature that he needs because of his geographical location. You would go really deep into that. You already know your customer's a little hooked, but you need to make sure that he understands that you're talking directly to him. Urgency is a big thing here. When you're getting to this point in the sales funnel, you're going to want to make sure that people are aware that time's of the essence here. We need to start moving this along quicker and quicker and quicker. And this allows you to start developing that relationship with your customer. Add personality to your video. Your customers at this point aren't just random people. They know your brand, they know your business, they know your faces, they know you. So you should just start developing that relationship with them as quick as possible. And the last one, marriage. The marriage stage, call to action. This is where you have to go for the kill. In video, you can beat around the bush and you can kind of like talk and talk and talk and have people talk and explain and but eventually you have to truly ask for the sale. Develop that firm call to action. Develop that urgency. Hey, we have a sale on this tractor. You saw all the in-cab features. You love it so much, but the sale is only until the end of October during harvest, and then all the tractors go off sale. So you're going to have to buy right away. This promotion ends right away. Buy now. You're going to want to trigger them into some sort of FOMO effect of like, okay, if I don't buy now, I might be losing out. Remember, they're as close to getting married as possible. There's not much that's going to sway them either, to jump off. They're pretty committed at this point. So you can be a little bit more bold in the videos you produce, and you can say, hey, are you in? Are we doing this full time? And that's when you can really start to drive a lot of sales to the bottom line. Now, this is where a lot of people kind of attribute sales funnels to like, oh, someone gets to the bottom of the sales funnel and they make a purchase. In ag marketing, I don't think that's the best. You're selling huge lots of tractors. You're selling, fertilizer. You're selling a lot of different products that like no one just buys off an ad on Facebook. It doesn't work, and I'll be the first to admit it. But this is where you can use your marketing brain and go, what creates the most value for my customer at the bottom of my sales funnel? It could be an opt-in. It could be a feature sheet to the tractor that we're trying to sell to them. And then your sales team could get a notification with the customer's contact information to call that customer. That could look like an action for your organization. An action doesn't assume purchase. An action is just the closest point for your customer to be driven to a sales team or a sales position so they can actually opt in and buy. So don't think that like you're going to put out a couple ads on Facebook, start dissecting them and like creating your sales funnels and like really getting to it. You're going to hit go. You're going to spend thousands of dollars and then come with pitchforks and torches and everything, an angry mob behind you at my office saying, Josh, it didn't work. Sometimes you can't sell every time. You've got to go for opt-ins. You've got to get information from the customer to eventually be able to get them to a position to sell. So is this effective? I think so. We use it all the time in our business. We use it for our clients. We leverage this in an incredible fashion because we're only spending money on the customers that we know are most interested. And that is truly how I know we're attributing a lot of success for our clients and for our business as well. Because it's about efficiency of a dollar. And I love the talk about efficiency of a dollar in marketing because it can be taken in a ton of different ways. But if you had one last dollar to spend on marketing, where would you spend it? And I want to ask that question to you guys. If you had one last dollar, one singular Canadian loonie, $1, where would you spend it to market for the organization you work with right now? Bueller? Oh, Danielle, just home run. Remarketing ads. Okay, well, she spoiled it for everyone because she got the right answer. My opinion, if I were to have one last dollar, I would, not far enough, I would spend it on social media. Social media presents a opportunity that very few other marketing channels present you. Billboards, bus benches, buses, mail drops, pamphlets, trade shows, like we can name every attempt at marketing possible, but it's not efficient because with social media, the one thing you're able to determine with that one last dollar you spent, did it work or didn't it? And that is the most effective way you can spend $1 in marketing, is to test and validate if what you actually did worked. If you go and you put a billboard out and you say, come and buy, and at the end of the month, someone comes to you and said, did someone buy? Hope so. Is probably your response. But this is where I like to drive a point home at the end of the presentation here. Do you have one bus bench, or do you have a predictable marketing funnel full of paying customers? And that concludes how you can use video to sell your business and sell for your business. Let's create something impactful.
Thanks, Josh, for that great presentation. A lot to think about there. I've got notes all over the place here. So I really like the way you talked about the sales funnel and comparing it to dating. So I think that's something relatable. A lot of people can relate to, and also how you used examples to explain the shareable framework. So if anybody's got any questions, please put them in the chat now, or if you're brave enough to show your face and speak them out loud, you can do that as well. We do have about 10 minutes here, so we can get a few in. So we don't have any yet. So I did jot down a few things, Josh. One of the things I was going to ask is about measurement, but you did touch on that a little bit. So I'm going to go a different direction then. So I know where I work, video has been a hot topic for a couple of years now. And it's really forced us to pivot the way we think about marketing and how we approach it. And we've had to learn all sorts of stuff and restaff and retrain. And all of my internal partners always come to me, we want a video, we want a video. So what I'm going to ask you is, when do they not need a video? Or when is there a time that a video is not the answer?
I was expecting hard questions, Dean, but I wanted a softball first. Okay. I think video is extremely ineffective when you truly don't know what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of people come to Tandem and they're like, hi, I want a video and I want to get a lot of views. Well, no, you want bottom line. You want to increase sales, increase awareness. And I think that there's a lot of different ways that, identifying early on objectively, what are we trying to accomplish here in marketing? Because video might actually not turn out to be the best way to communicate that. And I think that, when it comes to, certain styles of businesses, I know there are tons of ways for a, furnace business to acquire customers. They do a mail drop with a actual coupon that says, hey, come buy this thing. I think that's super effective for their industry. I think from your perspective, like anything that, I'm very biased, so I'm trying to find ways that I have to counter this, but I think that in your organization, if it takes longer and more resources to produce the video than just to get up and prepare and present the information in person, I think that that's where you probably want to lean towards more in person. Videos is kind of a cost-effective or cost-intensive media if you want to produce it at a high quality. So, it's all about your marketing spend and how you want to allocate that. So I think you wouldn't want to do it if it outweighs the resource cost that you would have to just regurgitate that back to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. We do have one question in the chat here. What is the ideal length of a social media video? And that's from Krista Ormondson.
Perfect. Krista, you're not going to like my answer. It depends. So like I said earlier on, each platform actually has a native way that humans communicate and connect. And that is truly, it plays into how long you should be producing content, what type of content, how those customers will interact with it. And so to give you a couple examples, Facebook, if it isn't over 3 minutes, it's not going to perform well. Facebook has a monetization algorithm that pushes videos over 3 minutes. They're looking to kind of move into the creator space. So videos over 3 minutes work really well on Facebook. They do terrible on Instagram because Instagram TV just doesn't have a lot of like power behind it. So anything over 60 seconds gets translated immediately into an IGTV video. And then it's a very small amount of people that are browsing IGTV. So anything over 59 seconds on Instagram doesn't perform well. LinkedIn, anything I think above a minute and a half performs quite well because you have people's attention for longer. It's an older demographic that's on LinkedIn, it's professionals. And for them, they're actually looking to gain some interesting insight into these videos. So as long as it's very knowledgeable, you're gonna hook that audience. So if I'm gonna give you like an actual real answer instead of it depends, I would kind of say anything under 60. Remember, people are goldfish. And the one very negative marketing mindset that I have, and I use this to kind of position ads and write copy and leverage strategies. People are two things. People are stupid and selfish. You didn't hear it from me. I swear, it's the worst analogy I have. But the background behind it is people don't know what they want. People are stupid. People honestly don't know until it smacks them in the face. Whoa, that's what I want. So when you're marketing, when you're trying to communicate, when you're trying to actually get them across, you can't put a 7-minute video in front of them. 30 seconds is pretty digestible. And they're selfish. They're selfish with their time. They're selfish with their identity. They're selfish with what they're the cat video, the type of cat videos they'll watch on their downtime. So I think like anything below 59 seconds is a gold time for social media, but it kind of depends when it comes to what platform you're on. Hashtag people are stupid. Oh, here it is. This is how I get canceled. This is it.
So we have time for another one here from Robert Menzies. What is the rationale not to professionally produce a video?
Yeah. You can produce really good video that doesn't need to be professionally done, but you do have to do a couple key follow a couple key elements that make the video somewhat consumable. It cannot be terribly sounding. Like, people will watch good audio, but bad visuals. They will not watch good visuals, but bad audio. So if you don't have the ability to do that internally, in-house, and produce something that sounds good, and this is where, if we're looking at like a machining shop, don't go and produce your video in the machining shop talking about your brand. Go out in a quiet area. Make sure the lighting looks good. Like, to give you guys perspective on how different lighting can change and affect your video, I have 2 lights set up on me right now. If I turn them off, it's a completely different video than what I was doing before. Right now, I look like one of those guys in a crime video that committed like 20 years of crime. You can barely my face. But if I do this, all of a sudden you're interested, your eyes you're compelled to continue watching. So I think that you shouldn't get your stuff professionally done if you think you have the skills and resources in-house. But look what your competitors are doing, and don't try to match where they're strong. Like, if they're producing good video, don't go out and hire someone professional. Start producing video as soon as possible, and eventually you'll work your way up to it. Eventually you'll build out a business case where it is a viable option to produce something that's professionally done. But that doesn't need to be everything. People don't come to Tandem X Visuals for like a selfie shot, hey, welcome to the team video that they send to their new recruit. They come to us because they want something that's visually compelling. So hopefully that answers your question.
Good, thanks. I think we have time for one more, and we have one more in the chat here from Hewad Jank. Hopefully I got the name right there. One thing I struggle with is creating fun and creative videos while also being informative and professional. Maybe I'm trying to create videos about things that should be a document. And then I think she says the organization is a university.
Okay, young adults, high school students.
Mm-hmm.
They're a tricky one. Young adults and younger people see through everything. So it's very hard to connect and really hit it home. And I think that when you go to Coffee Row is a different audience. They're completely subjective to just baseline funny humor. If it's a little humorous, they'll love it. So when it comes to kind of creating fun and creative videos while also being informative, there's one creator that does this really well. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. He's from Tourism Saskatchewan. His name's Andrew Hiltz. He used to be the Saskatchewan Wanderer, and he produces incredibly fun videos that are super informative. I very much so professionally admire him for what he does. He doesn't ever really, when he's doing something that's very dynamic and fun, he never shoots in the same spot for the whole video. He'll shoot, he'll talk, and then he'll transition to another place, and then he's somewhere else, and then he's somewhere else, and then he's somewhere else. But the somewhere else's coincide with the humor, the creative, the fun attributes and the elements to his informative kind of like descriptor. So when it comes to kind of, should it be in a document or should it be in video, I think if you're able to get your audience to understand what you're trying to communicate, you're going to hit it home. If your audience will be confused, put it in a document and let the questions come back to you, because the video is actually going to invoke more questions than what you probably assumed in the beginning.
Thanks, Josh. So there's one more, but before, so it is almost 1 o'clock. And so those of you who need to leave, thank you for attending the webinar today. Josh has agreed to hang on for a couple of minutes here and answer the last question or two. But before he does, and before everyone leaves, I just wanted to again thank Josh. And in lieu of a speaker gift, we will be making a donation to the Canadian Agribusiness Education Foundation on your behalf.
Thank you.
So CAMA provides scholarships to post-secondary students enrolled in an agriculture program, and we're helping to support the next generation of ag marketers. And again, thanks to everyone for coming. And like I said earlier, the webinar will be recorded and the link will be sent out to you within 24 hours. And if you have to go, we understand, but hopefully you can hang on for Josh's answer to this last question here. So
you betcha. So yeah, let me just give it a quick scan. Thank you so much for making that donation on my behalf, by the way. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. It's way better than a gift. I don't like things. Donations and causes are much better.
Thank you.
Oh. So how do you sell the idea of fun and creative sometimes makes bigger impact than serious and factual? And this question kind of comes from, how do I pitch and how do I give ideas to companies that might be taking themselves a little too seriously? It's easier than you think because people are human. And when you can abstract that and you can kind of really dive deep into, okay, like, Dean, I'm going to use FCC for an example, because FCC is a little bit, there's a box. It is farming and somewhat insurance and somewhat like, it is a very rugged and like, I'm not going to say boring industry, but it doesn't have that we can be fun attribute to it. But people are people. And that's where marketing is the truest and most distilled fashion, is that when you understand people are people, you don't have to, be worried about being taken too seriously, because, funny jokes are still caught by funny people in your audience and they understand it. And if you can make it contextual to your brand, like FCC, for an example, I don't think it'd be funny for them to, make a video promoting of a field caught on fire to say, hey, field caught on fire, blazing sails. Like, there's certain aspects of humor that actually just do not work well with the brand. And, I think when it comes at the detriment of your brand, the detriment of your competitors and the detriment of your customers, it's not going to be funny. But if you poke humor at the problems that customers face, they love it. Like when I pitched an idea to a water company about a video, and they wanted to sell a lot of their water. I pitched an idea to them that basically it was dads in white t-shirts that went to lift up the bottle to put it on like the 18-liter like water dispenser, but the bottle popped and then they got caught in slow-mo as they were in their own little wet t-shirt contest. And the idea was to sell this to them because it was a funny, humorous thing. The wives would think it's funny, the men will think it's funny, and they're probably going to sell more water when old dads are dumping water bottles on their white t-shirts in the front yards. So when we took this traditional, I wouldn't say boring water company, but when we took this water company, we were able to dissect it and go, what is the audience going to find funny? And how do you make that so it's not detriment to the brand, the business, your competitors, or your customers? I think that's when things get humorous, is when you can actually talk about the problems that people are having. Dale, thanks for stopping by.
Josh. Yeah. Well, thank you again, everyone, for attending today. It looks like a lot of people hung on for that last answer, Josh. So thank you again very much. Very great presentation. And thank you to everyone for attending, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.